gone. No more to vow. You're tired, aren't you, Stella?
You will never try to sing again. Say it.
You're amused.
Oh, merely skeptical. How would you go about it?
I've used hypnotism more than once in healing. Not for profit. I'm not a professional. But I do think I could help you. If you'd care to...
I can't think of a pleasanter experience.
Now you will do exactly as I tell you.
It has been labeled as the golden age of the cinema, filled with big stars and lavish productions. And during those years, hypnosis found a way to be included in many of these productions.
The following review is courtesy of Old Movie Watching with Rob.
Calling Dr. Death from 1943 was an entertaining murder mystery movie featuring Lon Chaney Jr. as a doctor who isn't sure if in a hypnotic state he may have murdered his beautiful but unfaithful wife. Now, all the while, his supportive nurse is trying to help him out using the power of hypnotism. Now, this was the first of Universal's Inner Sanctum films. The film opens up with a disembodied head of actor David Hoffman in a crystal ball. He is the spirit of the inner sanctum, and he's telling us about how all of us, yes, even you, can commit murder. And then we cue the credits, and then we open up with Lon Chaney Jr. Now, he is a neurologist named Dr. Mark Steele, and he is doing a hypnotism session to help a young woman. Now, he uses this technique to enter into their subconscious and helps them resolve their personal issues. Now, working with him is his faithful secretary, Stella, who's played by lovely actress Patricia Morrison. By the way, I love how he wakes up his patients. I mean, couldn't you use some other method other than a slap to the face, like smelling salts or something? But in any case, after helping his patients, he's alone, and we hear his thoughts kind of whispering in his head about the fondness for what he does. And there's lots and lots of this whispering throughout the film. Now, he's not happy with his marriage, but he does think very highly of his nurse, Stella, who has been faithful and true with assisting his practice.
Good night, Doctor. See you in the morning.
Her grip is so firm, her hand so cool, as if she wanted to tell me something. Thank you, Stella.
Well, the doctor heads home to a lonely dinner by himself, continuing with his voiceover. And while there, he looks at the painting of his wife that stares at him. Well, he stays awake late, waiting for her to return. He's reading his book while wearing his comfy circle jammies when his wife, Maria, finally arrives home. Well, she's played here by lovely actress Ramsey Ames. And boy, he really surrounds himself with some gorgeous women, doesn't he? Well, anyhow, Ramsey Ames, it's noteworthy, was also with Lon Chaney Jr. in the film The Mummy's Ghost in 1944. Well, they argue when he tells her that they just can't go on and they should separate, but she's not having it. She likes the money and the prestige that comes from being married to a doctor, even though we saw her get dropped off by another guy who seems to be fond of her. So was the doctor thinking murderous thoughts? Well, we're left hanging at this point. But the next day he's back at work, and he almost opens up to Stella about his feelings for her, as he mentions the fight with his wife from the previous night. At home later, Dr. Steele discovers his wife is gone for the weekend. So he leaves, and he goes for one of those great movie drives with a rapidly changing rear projection screen video. Well, he blacks out, but then wakes up later at his desk, and we're not really sure what has happened or honestly how much time has passed. Stella wakes him up, tells him that he had some sort of a mental blackout. Well, he pleads with her for help, and watching this, I can't help but think, man, his breath was probably really nasty at this point. He's blacked out, probably has breath like an old mummy or something. But we hear more of his internal monologue as he's puzzled over what has happened. He gets cleaned up, but soon, the police arrive, and they tell him that his wife was found murdered. Now, he's shocked at this news, and he heads with them to the cabin where she was killed. And it's a great camera point of view as the doctor makes his way inside. Now, it's here that we first meet with Inspector Greg. He's played by actor J. Carroll Naish. He's an excellent actor I've seen in other films before, like Sahara with Bogart. Well, he's really great here as the detective in this film. And his character never gives an inch, but just seems convinced that this doctor is guilty. Well, Dr. Steele, he sees his wife's body, which was apparently bludgeoned and then disfigured with acid. Now, in his voiceover, he's shocked and troubled. What's going on? But then looking down, he sees one of the buttons from his jacket laying on the ground. What? Well, back at his office, he confides to Stella that he just doesn't know what's going on. And she faithfully believes in him and in his innocence. Well, he gets a call, and they've arrested a suspect for the murder. So the doctor goes to the station to meet with the accused. It's the character Robert Duvall. This is the guy that his wife had been having the affair with, and he's played here by actor David Bruce of the Mad Ghoul fame. Well, Duvall pleads for his innocence, and the doctor says that he believes him, but that inspector still seems convinced that Dr. Steele is guilty. Well, Duvall's wife comes to plead with the doctor. She's played here by Faye Helm, who was actually also in the Wolfman movie from '41. Well, she believes that her husband is innocent. She confesses that they have been having marital problems. She knew of his unfaithfulness, but that her husband would never commit murder. The trial of Duvall takes place with more voiceover from the doctor and this cool overlay of his face, too. So at this point, it seems like Dr. Steele, he's starting to lose it. He's hearing voices in his head, and he starts to panic, and he goes for a drink. And it's at this point the inspector arrives, and he's still playing hardball here. What's the matter, doctor? Nerves or conscience? This guy, he doesn't give an inch. He knows that an innocent man is about to die, and he's pushing this doctor to confess. He knows that his conscience is bothering him. Well, the doctor decides he's going to undergo some self-hypnosis. So Nurse Stella gets them all set up and actually records a session with this cool vinyl record that allowed you to record sound. It's pretty cool. Back in the 40s, they had this awesome technology. But it's around here, as he's getting hypnotized, that the inspector returns. And he talks to Stella, telling her that he's convinced this doctor is guilty. But Stella plays back the recording that has just been made. And we hear the doctor's own voice, basically giving the story, proving his innocence. But this inspector, he's not convinced. He thinks the doctor can control his own subconscious, and he just leaves. Well, Dr. Steele goes to talk to Duvall again. He's behind bars, and he's desperate to get more information from him. And we find out that there really wasn't much love in the affair that he was having. He was basically just using the doctor's wife to pay off his own gambling debts. And then the lights flicker overhead. Oh, we know what that means. So back at his office, Dr. Steele is reading in the paper, and he sees Stella collapse from overwork. So he suggests that she hire more help, and then drives her to go see her family at their home in Malcolm Falls for the weekend. But when he returns to the office on Monday, it looks like there's been some kind of fire in his office. And as you can guess, that inspector promptly arrives again, and he is suspicious, as the acid that was used to create the fire in his office was apparently similar to that which was used to disfigure his murdered wife's face. So the inspector, he's putting the pieces together, and he remains curious if a call might have been made that maybe vibrated from the phone and made the acid fall. And of course, the doctor and Stella plead innocence to all of this. Well, as we near the end of the film, we are at the eve of Duvall's execution. So Dr. Steele and Stella, they're spending some time together to try to take their mind off of things. They go out for drinks and they go to the theater, but it doesn't help. And soon, the time draws near. So what will happen? Will Duvall be executed? Is he guilty? Or has Dr. Steele somehow committed the crime and managed to wipe it from his subconscious? Well, there's a great twist ending that you have to see for yourself. So no spoilers, go check out the movie and see the ending for yourself.
In the 1944 film The Climax, Boris Karloff plays a theater physician who murders his mistress. Then, 10 years later, another young singer arrives that resembles her, and he wants to prevent her from ever singing for anyone but him.
Now watch the light.
You're relaxing now. Body, muscles, nerves, brain. You're gliding away into pleasant places. You don't resist anymore. Gently slipping into another world. A world of my design where you will be helpless without me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes. I hear you, Doctor.
You don't want to sing again, ever. Tonight you give your voice and your will to me. I'm in control. Your voice will no longer answer your brain, it will obey mine instead. Look at the mirror. Keep looking at it. You will never try to sing again. Say it.
I will never try to sing again.
That voice was never yours. It belongs to Marcelina, but it's leaving you. I'm sending it back to her. It must be silenced forever. I forbid you to sing again.
My throat.
Next time on Hypnosis in the Media.
Relax, Mr. Chan. Remember, nothing but what you have been told. Remember, you go to the roof of the Chalmot building. And when you hear my voice, you know what you ought to do?
Thanks for watching until the end. If you want to see more, just hit the subscribe button. Margaret Register is a certified clinical hypnotherapist and advanced EFT tapping expert. For a free hypnosis consultation or a sample copy of Meg's new ebook, Hypnosis for Painful Intercourse, go to www.megregister.com.